I'm Jamilah.
And I'm Nico Robinson.
And this is the Watch the Throne episode.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. We're my most beautiful queens in the house. We're my most beautiful queens in the house.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Jamilah. Welcome to the Queen's Address. Welcome into the Queendom. And today, I'm at a very, very special occasion with a very, very special guest, Nico Robinson of House of Nambili. I'm in the building. This is her building. Shout out to her. What's up, Nico?
Hello, beautiful. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so
for
much.
Coming.
Thank you for having us. We've been trying to get you on the show for a hot little minute. Okay, and so today I'm so excited. We're doing this chair. We're gonna we talk a little bit about this throne?
The throne
chair.
Throne. When you reached out to say that you were looking for a chair that would represent the podcast, I immediately knew kind of what it was I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first one we found. The first one I found was nice, but this was better. So I was really glad that it worked out that way. And it's been really awesome to work on it, to pour love into it, the way that you pour love into your podcast. So I'm super excited to be a part.
No,
I'm
so thankful. I'm excited. And so we're gonna work on the chair together.
Yes.
So looks like we're gonna do some piping and the placing of the cowrie shells, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so maybe we should just get started. Let's just get on into it.
So,
all right.
This is mud cloth.
Okay.
Fabric is from Mali. Mud cloth, the reason why it's called mud cloth, it's cotton fibers that have been woven together and then dyed using mud. So it's all the way from the motherland.
All right.
And what I've done is created the piping.
Okay.
You can feel it.
All right. Nice and firm.
Nice and firm.
Yes.
And I've already marked a measure where I want to place it.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is hot glue this around all the way. And then we'll glue the cowrie shells on top.
Okay.
Ready to get started?
Yes, let's get started.
All right. Glue gun.
All right.
Step 1. Let's wait for that to heat up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so while we're waiting on that to heat up, I wanted to ask you a question while we're waiting. What is the House of Nambili all about? And where did you get the name for your business?
Great question.
Yeah.
So House of Nambili is the culmination of all of my creative things under one roof.
Mm-hmm.
So Nambili means 12 in Zulu. And 12 is a very special number for me. It's the age which I felt the most creative, most empowered, I wake up and I'm great energy. And once I turned 13 and puberty hit, I was way more concerned with other people's opinions of my thoughts and ideas than what I thought about myself. And so originally the company was called Forever 12. And that's what I would do my photography under and any other creative endeavors. But once that kind of morphed as I got older, learned more art disciplines, things of that nature, I was like, I need something that's all encompassing, but I still want to keep that essence of 12. And so House of Nambili was born.
Oh, wow. And the rest is history.
Still in the making.
Yeah. And so you actually, we're talking a little bit off camera about Spelman, and you're a Spelman graduate.
I did not graduate from Spelman.
Okay.
I did attend.
You did attend?
I actually graduated from the Regents Academy in London.
Oh, oh.
So what had happened was...
Yeah, let's get into it.
I attended Spelman for freshman and sophomore year fully. Halfway through junior year, I ended up coming back to New York, where I'm from.
And Shout from New York.
With the intention of going back, and things just didn't work out financially. So I was home, really sad, just like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And had an opportunity to work with a lot of really cool people and just would have a camera with me all the time. My artistic roots start with photography. So I was able to hang out with lots of really amazing creative people, Questlove, Erykah Badu, Common, Black Alicious, Bilal, like documenting all these really great situations, even Evil D at D&D Studios, so Beat Miners, Pete Rock, Alchemist, like just taking pictures of everybody all the time. And so I found out like, oh, this could be a thing. I took this really cool photo. This woman kept calling me like, hey, send me the picture, send me the picture, send me the picture. It's like, here, take the picture. A few weeks later, I get a copy of the Source magazine and a check in the mail from Capitol Records for the photo. And I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. So from there, 9/11 happened. I know I don't look my age, but I was there. 9/11 happens. New York is crazy. I decide I'm going to move to London. I've always wanted to live in England. I'm going for it. So I quit my job at Adidas, cashed out my 401k, sold my car, bought a one-way ticket to England, knowing nobody, never been there, and was like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm also going to enroll in school and finish my degree in a topic that I know I can't fail. Visual communication, art. Let's make it happen. So that's how that started. And then from there, being trained as an artist in Europe really gave me the perspective of being a multidisciplinary and learning color theory and painting and mixed media and how to really take the things that inspire you every day and then bring them into things like upholstery or videography or interior design or even clothing. Like everything about what I was doing, I never considered myself an artist, but I was already on that path. And so HON or House of Nambili just became a culmination of all of those things.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, this is cool.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you a question before we get started, because I see the glue gun is heating up. So we're going to start. And so I'll ask you a question while we're working. Let's talk about the decision to go into business for yourself. Okay. When did you say, okay, you know what, I'm going to do it? Or was it kind of a process, or was it an overnight, like, you know what, I'm going to wake up and do this today?
That's a great question. I'm not the type of person that's like, okay, I have this idea and I'm going to plan it out. I'm going to write it down. I just jump in with both feet deep into the ocean, sharks and all, and just like literally learn as I go. I think the pressure and the not knowing is what drives the learning. And so I just went for it. The business started in 2016. And it was kind of a little bit of an accident, actually. A friend of mine, Nana Badu, shout out to Nana. She is Ghanaian and saw that I was like teaching myself how to sew. Okay, let me back up the story a little bit. I had a jacket from 555 Soul that was torn to shreds, and I was determined to patch it. So I was like, I'm going to teach myself how to sew. So I got a sewing machine, and I had all this really cool African wax print fabric, and I was like, I'm going to use this to patch the jacket. I broke 3 sewing machines.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. But with all that fabric, I also started like just making just stuff, coasters, pillows, picture frames, all kinds of just little knickknacks that I was using in the house. My friend saw what I was doing, and she was like, hey, I'm leaving for Ghana. I'm going to be there for 2 weeks. I'll bring you back more fabric. And when I get back, we should, test the market of what you've been making. I have a booth at Afropunk. Just vend, like see what people are interested in, and we'll go from there. So I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I spent the 2 weeks like making little packages. I had coasters, I had pillowcases, I had picture frames, and one other thing. And we went. And again, I'm still in photography mode at this point. So I'm like half shooting the show, half trying to sell some stuff, half shooting the show, half selling some stuff. But this one woman came up to me and she's like, oh, do you sew? I did not sew. I was like, yeah, I do. I'm literally like sewing machine 2 in the trash. And she's like, well, can you make me some pillows? Sure, I can. I didn't know how to make a pillow yet. I was still learning. She's like, do you know what mud cloth is? I was like, of course I do. Look right down, mud cloth. Look this up. So again, I've never gone into something where I'm just like, I have to know everything, even though in my spirit, I feel like I want to know everything before I start. My life experience has never been that way. It's always jump in with both feet. So we're at this place. I meet this wonderful woman. She orders 10 custom pillows for me with the mud cloth. And this is how I learn about the history of the fabrics. This is how I learn about like how to sew fabrics, different weights, needles, threads, like everything was just learning on the fly, including how to run a business,
right?
How to price something. What are my cost of goods? Making sure I get that back plus your labor. All of these things were literally learning as I went. And I made a lot of mistakes, but I also learned a lot. And so mistakes have become my best friend,
right? Because
through this entire process, that is mostly, if not 100%, how I've learned. That and YouTube. Can't forget YouTube.
Shout out to YouTube. And so we're gluing this down and around. Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to move fairly quickly because I don't want the glue to
like run off.
But hot glue is pretty cool.
Okay.
And all we're doing is,
and so you just take and stretch it and press.
Stretch and press. You got it. Okay. Stretch and press. You want to be careful because hot glue is hot. It can burn. We don't want that.
Okay.
All right. You ready to dry?
Yeah, just press. Okay.
Are you ready to dry? So when you pull the trigger, pull very lightly. Okay. And you're just gonna put maybe go like right to that staple.
Dots? Okay.
There you go.
All righty. Okay. So is that okay?
Yeah, the strings. Yeah, don't worry about those.
All right. So here.
Yep.
1, 2, and then 3. Here's a staple. Is that okay?
Yep. That's where we want it to go.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And now you stretch.
Okay.
And pull.
And pull. Okay.
And then press it down.
All right.
All right. Good job. All right. You're hired.
Oh, I got a job offer. Oh, man. No, I got the job. Yeah.
Come to Georgia. So, yeah, you got to hold it for a little bit.
Hold it. Oh, okay.
The upside to using hot glue in the colder months is it's actually a good thing and a bad thing.
Okay.
Because it will solidify really quickly.
Okay. And so it goes quickly.
It goes fast.
Oh, okay.
But
it rolls off.
And it rolls right off your hands. Rolls right off your hands. Not so much the fabric though. So you want to be really careful.
Okay.
That you don't get it on the fabric. But if you do, you can use some really advanced fun techniques like a blow dryer or a heat gun.
And just pick it off.
To kind of loosen it or pick it off. But this particular fabric is probably the most challenging to do piping with because it's so thick.
Okay.
And because if you get glue in the fibers, it's really hard to get out. So you want to be really, really careful.
Okay. And so get up close here.
Yep. And just pull very slow.
Slow. Okay.
Okay. Go down.
Go down.
Yep.
Is that good?
Yep.
Right there and stop?
Yep.
Okay.
So you see how you got a lot here.
Okay.
And not a lot there. But check this out. We're going to take this little pin, heat it up a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm just going to push the glue down.
Downward. Okay.
And if the glue is on the wood, that's okay.
Okay.
And you want to feel this part right here?
Uh-huh.
You want that to be on the line. So
be
pull.
Flush, like, okay.
Yep.
Pull.
And push.
Okay.
Pull and push.
All right.
You got it.
There we go.
Now, we're not going to worry about the glue that we got on the wood.
Yeah.
Once it dries, we'll be able to pick it right off.
Okay. And so should I be smoothing it or just hold it?
Hold
smooth it. Okay, just hold it.
Because it's in place.
Okay, cool.
It's in place. So this is one skill.
I want to do a good job so bad. I want to impress you, right?
You're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great. It's a learning experience and a learning curve. I think upholstery is probably my latest. I'm going to learn how to do this. I
follow you on social media. You do a lot. I
do.
I'm like, I better do a good job.
We all learn by mistake. So if you make one, that is okay.
All right.
I love chairs. I love the lines of chairs, the designs. Like with this chair, particularly, what really spoke to my heart was the woodwork.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
The spirals, all of this decorative stuff going on up here. I don't know all the particular names because it's learning, but I love the style. It was sturdy. And for me, it represented royalty, which when you said you were interested in having a piece specifically for the podcast, this said, yes, Jamilah and friends, let's go.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's
And
so
it's comfortable.
perfect.
It's very, very comfortable.
Absolutely. That's
Right.
important.
Now the corner
Okay,
is the hardest part.
All right, I'm gonna step out of the shot and let you.
No, you can watch.
Yeah, I can watch.
So I'm gonna do a little tiny dot of glue and pull it around.
Okay.
If you hear any random sounds in the background, that is the workshop mascot.
Yay!
Little Rue Robinson.
Shout out to Rue. And so, can you talk to the audience a little bit about some of your challenges that you've come across along the way as an entrepreneur in this business?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So my entrepreneurial super story happened during COVID, actually. New York shut down. We couldn't leave the house. And, you know, I just didn't feel like people would be interested in pillows. You know, we were all worried about what is this thing that's happening? Are we going to be okay?
Right.
And what can we do? So, yeah, so it's during COVID and there was a mask mandate. So you couldn't be outside without a mask.
Okay.
JR and I did not have masks. JR is my husband, for those that want to know. John Robinson. He's amazing. So we needed to go to the grocery store and we didn't have masks. So I made some. I think I found a pattern on like Joann's or something to get me going. And I was like, okay, cool. I have all this fabric in the house. We're just going to use what we got. We'll go ahead, get some almond milk, some flour, make some pancakes. We're going to live our best life. So I make the masks. We go to the store and this houseless person sees us. And he was like, oh, wow, you got designer masks. Those are nice. And I was like, oh, you know, hey, thank you. I was like, babe, take my picture. So we took a picture. I posted on Instagram and immediately start getting messages and DMs like, I want one. How much? I had no intention of selling anything. I was just trying to get some almond milk. So I really knew we had something when the founder of Carol's daughter, Mrs. Lisa Price,
shout out to
reached
her.
out and she's like, I need 10 masks for my family. And I was like, what? Say less, no problem. Like I didn't know about cost of goods or really like crunching the numbers or any of that stuff. It was just like, go for it. People want it, just make it. And so it was literally myself and my husband in our very, very, very tiny apartment, making masks. I taught him how to sew because the orders were coming in that were like so intense. The coolest part about that whole experience was being able to donate masks to people in need in our community and in our neighborhood.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that made me feel like, okay, I'm not just doing this to just make money. Like, no, we're doing this with a purpose. And so we had a few organizations that we made masks for just to give away, which was really, really, really awesome. The scariest part for me was, and it's what happened. So for other artists and creatives, whatever you're afraid of, you're going to bring to you, number one. But just know every challenge that you've met thus far in your life, you've gotten over. So have the fear, but don't let it stop you from moving forward. So I was afraid that I would be overrun with orders. At one point, I think we had like 900 orders to fill. And I had a plan in place. So I was like, okay, it's going to take me like 2 weeks to make masks. But what I didn't factor in was, you know, Miss Johnson in Tennessee is going to order 5 masks, but, you know, Mr. Such and Such in Florida is going to ask for 15. And this person wants 25.
Right.
And so we're making them as we go, but this whole batch has to go to them. And then this whole batch has to go there. I started recruiting neighbors, friends, family. Like it became like this whole operation all during the pandemic, all while still donating. And I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, I panicked. And then I realized I was putting online like this persona of there's a whole corporation or a whole warehouse of people that are doing these things versus it's just me and my husband. And so when I think I had a Shopify store for a little while, but I didn't know the nuances. So things like shipping logistics weren't set up properly or returns. So at one point, people would order a mask and the shipping was like 55 cents. Well, that's not for the type of package that I'm actually sending. And that didn't come with tracking. So then you have people who are seeing the brand in Hello Beautiful on the Afropunk website. D Nice shouted me out during club quarantine.
Shout out to D Nice.
Shout out to D Nice.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of really positive things happening. And then the business side of it that I didn't know wasn't there. And so I would get like negative feedback. Oh, I gave you my money, and as a Black business, this is what we don't expect. And it was like, oh my God, what do you mean? Like, that's not what happened. You don't understand.
Yeah.
And I got complaints and people were really, really upset. And so like the mask would show up eventually, 7-8 months later. Like, I told you I sent it.
Right.
But the post office was crazy. Like it was a lot.
Yeah.
So what I learned in that entire process was having systems in place when you have a business is the most important thing. You have to have systems in place. If you can have a team of people that you trust, that see the vision and want to help you like deliver the dream, all the better. But having systems in place is the most important. And that was the biggest challenge for me.
Absolutely. And so you just answered my next question.
Oh, yay.
Because I was going to say, talk about some of your challenges that you come across along the way as an entrepreneur in this business, but you already covered that.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest one, but it was also the biggest lesson.
Yeah.
As far as setting pricing, working with other people, understanding as a boss, you don't have to do everything. As a leader, you need to know what your strengths are, and you also need to know how to find people that can do the things that you're unable to do with the efficiency that you expect, and delegate. Very, very important. Very, very important. Yeah. So even as I'm sharing this with you now, I'm like, okay, this is the things that I need to do while I'm kind of like in a new portion of the business, because the last 3 years since we've moved from Brooklyn to Douglasville, where we are now, it's been more of me learning this new skill set and pouring into it, and less of this is what I'm doing. It's more about, I love chairs. I want to learn more about woodworking, staining. Eventually, I want to be able to design and create my own furniture.
Absolutely.
So this is all just like a learning space for me all day, every day. And it's like my happy place. I'm here.
I can tell.
And I'm just like,
you have a glimmer in your eye.
I'm looking at this like, ooh, look at that curve, boo. Okay, this looks really good. This looks really good. So, yeah.
And so you're working on this design here, and everybody's like so excited to see how it comes out. And so I just want to know, what is your design process like? Like when you have a vision for something, what is your process like when you say, okay, I'm going to do this?
So this is going to sound a little weird unless you too are an artist. I feel like I have a spidey sense. There are certain colors, curves, angles that literally just light my spirit up. And when I see those things, I lean into them, and I've learned to trust that feeling and that instinct. So oftentimes, like everyone in my neighborhood here knows I love chairs, but they'll call me up or they'll send me a picture. Oh, we found this chair on the side of the road, and the chair is just like, and I'm like, no, that's not it. Maybe for someone else, that's not the vision. Then I'll see something on like Facebook Marketplace or driving by an estate sale, and I'm like, babe, pull the car over. He's like, what? How did you see that from the highway? I'm like, I saw something, just go that way. So, following the spidey sense, and then really thinking about sitting with the chair, thinking about where it will end up. If I were to keep this piece of furniture, what would I want it to look and feel like? What energy do I want it to put out? What colors are going to really accent the shapes and the vibes of the chair? How can I add to the form and function that already exists and elevate it? Especially with older pieces where the fabrics don't necessarily align with modern times. How do I incorporate something like an African wax print? Right. Or mud cloth and still make it look really, really dope? Yeah. So, wow. It's a spidey sense.
Yeah, no, the spidey sense is the process. Why chairs? Why chairs? What's so special about chairs? Why are you drawn to chairs?
I think because most people just see chairs as something to sit on, and I don't see them as just something to sit on. They are pieces of art, literally. Charles and Ray Ames, this design team from the 60s, side note, mid-century modern is like my happy space. When they designed anything, it was whatever we're making, we want it to be beautiful, but we also want it to be functional. And I also kind of picked that up from Johnny Ives when I worked at Apple. You know, we make these great products that do these great things, but they're beautiful. Every angle is on purpose. The way that it feels in your hand, the way that the fabric feels, the way all of your senses are being lit up at the same time. So
intentional.
Very intentional. So for me, chairs have always done that. My favorite chair, and I cannot wait for the day that I can walk into Herman Miller and be like, I want 3 of these. Here's my credit card and the delivery address.
Go for it.
The Ames Lounge, 601. It's the most beautiful thing. I'm getting goosebumps. Look,
you really are. No, she really is, audience. Trust me.
It is like, seriously the most beautiful piece of furniture like ever. And they're so comfortable. When you get a new one, it's kind of stiff, but the longer that you have it, it's like a baseball glove. And so it gets more and more comfortable. I have friends that have had theirs for like real ones for decades. They've been in their family, and when you sit in it, it just feels like a warm hug from your grandma. Funny enough, that chair was designed based off of a baseball mitt. So it's on purpose. Okay, we're going to cut this here so it matches.
Okay.
And then we'll have space for our cowrie shells.
Okay, cool.
Look, do you want to cut the umbilical cord?
Look, I was just thinking about it. You took the words right from
we're going right there.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, go for it. There you are.
Okay.
Look, I'm scared. No.
This is so intense. So we're cutting it.
So right where this leaf is?
Okay.
Yes.
There we go. Just, okay, let me go a little bit. There we go.
Hey, we did it.
All right.
Okay.
And just
beautiful.
Hold it there. Okay. And just set these here. That's fine. Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Hold on. Let's get a little line of glue going here. Awesome. Okay. All right. Do you want to do the last little piece?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Oh, wait. I see something that I don't like.
Okay.
So, one other thing. When you are gluing, kind of got to look at all the angles. So, from this side, it looks great. From the side, not so much. So we'll stick that down there, let it dry, and yeah, you want to get it so it's like
you want me
here.
To hold this side? Okay. And
now
press.
we're pulling it up too high.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And just hold it. Okay.
Yep.
Is there a difference? Do you think that there's a difference between arts and crafts? And if so, what is the difference?
What do you define as art and what do you define as craft? Same. I feel like they're the same. I think I am just a little bit nerdy when it comes to the things, and all of the art people and artists that I love and admire strive to do both. They strive to create using their craft, but also have the thing that they're making be a statement piece. So like Bisa Butler, who I adore. She makes these massive, beautiful quilts, also from African wax print fabric, based off of portraits and pictures. And the actual art piece is just like phenomenal when you see them. But then when you really get down to the process, the photography, the colors that she's choosing for the fabrics, the pieces, and then the actual quilting, like these are very, very specific disciplines that, you know, some people spend their whole lives learning how to do just one aspect of what she's pulling together. So a lot of the artists that I admire and kind of lean on for inspiration, that's been what I've noticed to be like their MO. And so I just try to follow suit.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I do get a little caught up because the crafting part, again, you're always learning things, which is great. But like what happened with this chair, that was, oh Lord, we've been through, y'all. We've been through. So long story short, this beautiful piece of furniture was finished and ready to go. And I had it standing up on my work table. And when I went to close my garage door, the little emergency pull tab grabbed the top of the chair and knocked it over onto the floor and shattered in 6 places. I cried.
It's been through the trenches, y'all.
I cried so hard because, one, I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm not a woodworker by nature. Like, how the heck am I going to fix this in a timely fashion and get it to function? Like, it's a chair. The legs are gone. Like, what, you know, that's an important part of the stability of the chair. And then what about this and the color matching? Like, I was freaking out. And then I do this thing where you give yourself 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the situation, and you just let it all out.
Yep.
You cry, you scream, you kick, you punch, you cuss, you do all the things you got to do. And then when the timer goes off, wipe the tears away, blow your nose, and get to work. So that's what happened. Called a lot of people, visited a store called Woodcraft, which they specialize in woodwork. And the gentleman there, JC, was just like so kind and encouraging, and was like, listen, it can be fixed. Look, this is the type of wood it is. These are the fibers. This is how you're going to glue it back together. And this is what you're going to use. And this is how it's going to work. And so things that I knew about woodworking, which again, still fairly new. Like, I know how to sand. I know how to glue things. I can use a brad nailer. You know, I have a chop saw. I've built a box. I can do those things.
Tools, yeah.
But then when you have like a really, really decorative spiral thing, this is something that would be cut down again, like on a lathe. I don't have access to that. I don't even know how to use that yet. So I was really, really scared that it was going to be like this whole big production. And actually, it turned out to not be that intense. There were some tools that I needed to borrow from my neighbors. Shout out to y'all. Chisels. Clamps. If you're going to do anything with wood, buy as many clamps as possible. If you're doing anything with fabric, buy an extra 2 or 3 yards. Trust me, you're gonna need it. Being skimps when it comes to this kind of stuff, you always want to have more on deck than not. So yeah, I forgot the question. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Yeah, no, I think you
I'll go off on a
arts
tangent.
and crafts. It's one. It's
both
married.
It's like the yin and the yang.
Happily ever after.
They go together. They go together.
Yeah. And so we're ready to start the shells. I'm excited.
Okay.
Are we ready yet?
I think we're ready.
Okay.
I think we're ready.
And so they're lined up.
I lined them up so that I could be sure that they were the same size on both sides. And I'm thinking what we should do is start with the center and work our way around.
All right.
Or, yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to start with the smaller one.
Okay.
And we're going to put them right here. So we're going to line this baby up.
And so is this side here? Is that how that works? And
yes.
then this side is that side?
Yes.
And it just bows down?
It bows down.
Okay.
Now, trying a new glue. Okay. Well, E6000 is really great for everything. But this one came with a little nozzle tip. And I was like, ooh. Because the one that I have in the silver tube, you squeeze it out and it just like, it keeps going and going and going. Like it's glue with the Energizer Bunny and then you're covered in it and it's not fun. This, I feel like we can have a little bit more control. So we're going to add a little bit of glue. Wait for it. Okay, is it coming out? Okay, I see something. Look.
I'm like, let me get my eye out the way in case it goes.
Oh, God, yes. Ooh, that's something else that's super, super important when dealing with any type of arts and crafts, especially when power tools are involved. Protection. Ear, eyes, hands, all of that. You need it. You need it. My dad is really, really big on making sure, like, my feet are covered. I don't
Yeah, safety first.
Safety first.
Yeah.
Safety first.
Mhm.
With photography, I don't like to have my shoes on when I'm shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be grounded to wherever we are.
Mm-hmm.
And that rule does not work so good when you are working with wood.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have shoes on, you step on a nail, a
It's
staple,
over.
you're going right to the ER.
911.
And it's not fun.
Mm-mm.
Sitting there bleeding because you didn't want to have shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. Okay, so we're going to take you first.
Okay.
Actually, no, I'm going to do this side first. Okay. And I feel like, you know what? Let's do it this way. The instructions say, read the instructions. They are in the package for a reason. It said I'm supposed to let this sit on both surfaces for up to 2 minutes before fusing them together. This will add a good cure. So I tested this out last night. I'll show you.
Okay.
With another piece of the same fabric
Mm-hmm.
and another shell. I think this nozzle is like too good.
Okay. Now I have a question about this adhesive versus the glue gun.
Mm-hmm.
Does this have the same speed of drying as the one that we were using with the glue gun?
No,
Okay.
this is gonna need more time to cure.
Okay.
And the reason why I chose this over hot glue is where they're positioned on the chair.
Mm-hmm.
If you sit back or lean back or what have you, with this glue, it's less inclined to come off.
Okay.
Whereas with the hot glue, if you brush it the wrong way, it could potentially come off.
Oh, gotcha.
We don't want that.
We don't want that.
We don't want that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Something else, I'm going to put on gloves because hand protection is my friend. Also, I just feel super badass when I have on black latex.
Right.
Look what I'm doing.
I go to work, baby. I work. Hey. And so when you have ideas for designs like this, where do you draw your inspiration from?
Life experiences. Colors. I'm big on colors. Bright, bold, anything that's like primary. And again, spidey sense is like, ooh, that's nice. That's what I'm leaning towards for sure.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll see something that I really like or admire, and I'm like, oh, okay, how can I incorporate this into a project? I recently saw, I don't know the gentleman's name, but he does sewing, and he's like, I was really moved by, the rows of corn or something that he saw. And he's like, I wanted to incorporate this in my sewing. And I was like, oh, wow, that is brilliant. I should do more of this. Because I feel like I don't necessarily do that all the time. But I'm really big on like Wallpaper Magazine, HGTV.
Yeah, I'm a fan of HGTV.
Architectural Digest.
Yeah.
Universities are all places that I would like to be featured in one day. Thank you. Just put it out there. Because the way that they're lit and styled is just like, it just feels like a warm hug or a soothing bath. It just, so pretty.
Yeah.
So oftentimes seeing what other people are trying out to do and then incorporating into this. And sometimes it's not even like a plan, like with the cowrie shells. That wasn't part of the plan. It was just like, I'm thinking royalty. I'm thinking headpiece. What would look great on a headpiece? Okay. What headpieces were really moved? And there was this mask from, I want to say the Ivory Coast, maybe? I'll check my notes and show you the photo. And it was all cowrie shells. And I was like, ooh, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
So sometimes it happens that way where I will actually see something and then go from there.
Okay. And so I had a question about something I saw on your website. And I saw this Gucci chair that you designed, and it was so dope. And I wanted to talk about your aesthetic preferences because, you know, you'll do Afrocentric designs, luxury brand designs. I've seen you work with antiques. And so I just had to ask, do you have a preference? Or is it just how you're moved creatively to pull together an idea and make it happen?
Do I have a preference? Yes and no. I guess my preference would be like ghetto fabulous, if that makes sense. Like I want it to be like very, very high end, artsy, but at the same time, you know, Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of Queen sprinkled in for good measure, you know. So also very colorful. I'm really, really big on colors. This chair is probably the most muted one that I've done all year. But it's so elegant. Like it's not meant to be bright. It's meant to be like, I'm royal.
Right.
Leave me alone. Leave me be. Leave me be.
Yeah.
Type of a vibe. But yeah, also being here in Atlanta, it's a very, very much Afrocentric, opulent type of place. So you will see someone like dressed to the nines in all of the name brands, and at the same time, right next to them across the street will be somebody like looking like the Princess Zamunda. So
wow. Okay.
You know,
okay.
Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome. And so, what are some of the pieces that you are the most proud of that you've done?
I would say my very first piece is probably the one I'm most proud of. That one was a wingback chair that was gifted to me. It was two, actually, from my friend Keena Sage. Hi, Keena. She's amazing.
Shouts to her.
And she also shares a love of furniture and chairs. And she's like, oh, yeah, I know you want to like learn how to upholster, try these out. So I did. And I, again, had all this fabric from Ghana and Mali and Nigeria. And I was like, what could I make with this? So I decided I'm going to put this on a chair. I think I saw a photo online, maybe on Pinterest, where someone had done something similar. So the outside of the chair was black and white mud cloth like this. And then the inside was like this really, really pretty geometric bright yellow. And I was like, ooh, this looks like it's giving Oreo cookie vibe. Something about it was just like, ooh, that's really pretty. And I was like, I want to try something like that, but my way. And so the shell of that chair is mud cloth. And then the inside, instead of just being one fabric, it's like 87 different fabrics mixed together. So yeah, that one is probably the one I'm most proud of because it's what I taught myself on. I kind of feel that same energy for this chair because we've been through it. I haven't given you a name yet. Kofi. It's Kofi the throne chair.
Kofi the throne chair.
Kofi the throne chair. We've been through it. We've been through it. And with every project, there's something new to learn. And with this project, it was 1, don't panic. 2, you're not alone.
That's right.
And 3, anything can be fixed and repaired.
There you go. And so I wanted to ask, I know we got it.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, just as a creative, what do you love most about what you do?
What do I love most about what I do?
Yes.
I think my favorite thing about being a creative is, look, I was like, You know how you listen to like your favorite Stevie Wonder or John Coltrane or Sade or whatever the case may be, and it just puts you in a feel-good place? That's what being a creative is for me. It's a way to express what I'm thinking or feeling without necessarily using sound or words. It's a way for me to stay fresh and abreast. Like anything that I see that I'm like, oh, that looks like fun, I want to try it. Being a creative and having so many disciplines that I'm like already doing, it's like, let's jump into it. Like the next thing I want to try to learn how to do is rug tufting.
Oh,
yeah. I have lots of yarn on deck. Let's use it. Or, you know, when I taught myself how to knit, it was like, oh, okay, this is just something to keep me occupied while I'm riding the subway.
mm-hmm.
But these things can always be incorporated into upholstery
Mm-hmm.
or art.
Mm-hmm.
It's all art.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what the medium is, it's a feel good.
It's the art of the thing.
It's the art of the thing.
And so, what's next for Nico Robinson?
Next as in projects or next as in the company?
Like the company, like what's your next move? Like what are you planning?
Cupcakes. I'm kidding.
No. I believe that though. I could see you like
more
making
sweet potato pie.
Some designs on cupcakes. I believe that you could do anything you put your mind to. So I'm like, I'm curious. I wonder what she's getting ready to get into next.
For 2025, I am spending my winter months really going hard with woodworking and understanding different types of wood and adhesives and designs. Also, the goal is to upholster every single piece of furniture that you see in this workshop today. And it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. Some of it just been sitting on the side like, I wish you would get around to me next. I'm doing it. Everybody's getting a facelift. Everyone's getting a reface this year. There are ottomans, there are wingbacks, there are channel backs. I have cane chairs. All the chairs that I'm like really inspired by in pieces. Really, it's just practice, but the goal is to build my confidence because I really, really enjoy doing this. And I feel like once I can fully understand how to dismantle a chair, it'll make designing one from scratch a lot easier.
Okay. And so for people who are curious and want to follow the movement, what is your social media?
You can find me on all platforms under House of Nambili. And that's HOUSEOF. N like November, AM like Mike, B like Bravo, ILI. And .com.
And .com.
And .com.
Yeah.
And .com. So YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, my Insta-Twit face, I'm on all of them under that. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot more documenting of my journey, or more consistent documenting of the journey and these different projects that I've just shared with you.
Okay.
So you're holding me accountable by making me say it out loud. So
I'm glad. So now it has to happen.
It has to happen. It has to happen.
Word sounds power. Absolutely.
There you go. There you go.
I love it. Thank you so much for your work and what you're contributing to the culture. And you are such a powerful queen. And I'm just really glad to just be able to come into your workspace today. And I got to meet Rue, and JR is always super cool. And I'm just really excited to get into helping with this chair. And so until next time, you guys got to stay tuned for the finished product. Okay.
We're almost done.
We're almost done.
This looks so good.
And it's coming. Yeah, it's coming together.
Sexy for us.
Yes.
Yes.
So peace king and peace queen. And y'all stay tuned for the finished result.
Come back and see us.
Come back and see us.